What up, you guys? I'm here at Team Purple Panda. Here to talk about another card discussion this time. We're doing a couple deck discussions today, the main one being Six Samurai that I've been waiting to talk about after all these months. Glad I was able to do that. Back on the card discussions, though, we're going to talk about a really cool spell card. You know, it's limited to one on the ban list for good reason, and we're going to talk about Reasoning. A lot of people probably don't remember because Reasoning, oh god, it hasn't seen play or it hasn't been seen for a really long time, but the card basically goes like this. Your opponent declares a monster level. You then, send cards from the top of your deck to the grave until a monster that can be normal summon is picked up. If that monster is the same level as the one declared by your opponent, send all other cards to the graveyard. If not, special summon the picked up monster and send the remaining cards to the graveyard. So basically that means, alright, say I play Reasoning and you call level 3. Okay, so say you call level 3. So I play Reasoning, you call level 3, and I'm just going to use the example of my Gravekeeper deck. The only level 3 in here is Recruiter, so we'll see how this goes. Just see what the randomness number is. Okay, so we're just going to start picking up cards. Okay, card 1. Alright, card 1 was Assailant. I get to special summon Assailant because you called the wrong level. That's basically how Reasoning works. And Reasoning used to be really broken in a lot of different decks because, it worked. It used to be used in Old Samurai. It used to be used just in random decks because the opponent wasn't ready. Along that, there was the card Monster Gate, which basically did the same thing. But Reasoning was interesting because basically it was a game of chance. You had to really think once you knew what you were playing. What level is the consistency they're gonna draw. I mean, if you're playing against Gravekeepers, you'd call 4 or 3. Probably 4 is better. There's a lot more level 4s. Like I just showed you guys, I just picked up a card and it was level 4, so I would get to special summon it. Reasoning got limited because it was really broken in certain types of decks. Like you'd get to special summon, you wouldn't waste your normal summon. You could do so many plays with it. And then the same goes for Monster Gate. That was also limited. But I mean, it was used in a lot of old decks. And I mean, like I said, it isn't seen that much anymore. But for people who didn't understand, Reasoning was just you call the level if you call it right. When your opponent, all right, so say you called 4 and I drew the Assailant, I'd have to send the Assailant to the graveyard. If you called 4 and I drew 3, I'd get to special summon it. Anything that's not that number, you get to summon. So people would do this to special summon big monsters that could be normal summoned. So realize you couldn't summon Dark Arm, you couldn't summon something that couldn't be special summoned if by itself. So like if you say you topped what's a good example? Like Dark Arm, you guys, or Judgment Dragon. If you called 7 and I drew Judgment Dragon, I couldn't special summon it because it can't be special summoned through that effect. So for that reasoning was, it was put to 1, and I mean, I guess like I can see why it was. I mean, I could see a lot of decks that could really take advantage of that because of all the different levels. Like Plants run and Six Samurai run a number of levels. So I mean, it just depends. It was basically used in a Magical Explosion deck because like the more spells you had, like the more damage you could do. So I mean, they wanted to do away with decks like that. So that's basically what happened. It's still a really cool card though. I like it. It's nothing I'd main deck, but it's something that I suggest some people do in their decks because it will really confuse your opponent. If your goal is to throw off your opponent's whole strategy, Reasoning will definitely do it because Reasoning is a game of chance like a lot of these cards. And if your goal, Reasoning can even work in like an all monster deck because like how's your opponent going to know which monster what level is going to really be flipped over when you run all of them. So that's all I really got to say about Reasoning, you guys. Leave me your feedback below. Really cool card, really old card, but it's always the old cards that really deserve a lot of attention. So we'll see what happens. Reasoning's still a cool card. Let me know if it works in your deck or not, and just please continue to rate, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.